You ever watch your group board and then you're the only one who gets pulled aside like you did something illegal? No yelling, no drama, just a quiet, brutal sentence. Sorry, you can't board. And the wild part is it's usually something boring, one missing name detail, one passport issue, one system glitch that flips your trip to not today. So, in this video, we're breaking down the biggest ways travelers get blocked in 2026 and what to check before you ever walk into the airport. Welcome to Travel in 2026, where your driver's license is trying to go digital. You open your phone, pull up your digital ID and Apple Wallet, and for a second, you feel like the most efficient person in the terminal. Tap done. Keep it moving. Except the scanner doesn't take it. Maybe the reader glitches. Maybe the lane isn't set up for it. Maybe your screen brightness is low. Whatever the reason, the result is always the same. You're the person stepping to the side while the line behind you does that loud dramatic sigh that says, "We were doing so well." And that's the part nobody tells you. The line doesn't care how modern your phone is. So keep the digital ID if you like, but carry the physical one every single time. Not most of the time, every time. Because the moment your battery drops, your signal acts up or the system just says no. You don't want your entire trip hanging on a loading screen. Now, let's talk about the real ID star. That May 2025 deadline came and went. And if your license still doesn't have that little gold star, you're basically traveling on hard mode. And starting February 2026, TSA isn't expected to keep doing the friendly reminder routine. Reports say showing up without real ID could mean a $45 fee just to continue with alternative screening. So yeah, forgetting your ID could literally cost you dinner at the airport. And that's before you even buy the overpriced water. And if you think this is strict, take a breath because Europe just built a digital border system that makes a TSA checkpoint feel like a quick hello. If you're picturing a romantic European summer, you still can have it. Just know the border part isn't the cute montage anymore. Sometimes it feels more like a slow-moving system you have to outsmart. The new entry-exit system, ETIAS, started rolling out in late 2025, and now it's showing up at more borders. Music, and in early 2026, it can feel inconsistent. One airport is fully running it, another is still transitioning. So don't assume every border will move at the same speed. Think of it as Europe's new digital doorman. The satisfying ink stamp is fading out. Instead, every time you cross a border, your face and fingerprints get scanned, logged, and stored in a shared system. And this is the part that hits you when you're actually there. They're doing it when you're at your least photogenic. You land after a long red eye, you're running on fumes, and you're already doing the connection math in your head. Then you get to the front and it's scan again, and the line's moving at a crawl. Which brings us to the real danger, the no refund zone. Early delays can push wait times way up at major hubs. And if you miss a connection because you were stuck in that immigration line, the airline may not be required to rebook you for free. It's often treated as a government processing delay, not an airline-caused one. So you could be staring at a very expensive hotel bill and a suddenly flexible itinerary. So if you've got a tight connection at Frankfurt or Charles de Gaulle, don't gamble on immigration being normal. Build buffer time, especially on arrival days, or you'll pay for it in stress and money. Looking ahead to late 2026, get ready for ETIAS. It's basically a required travel authorization for entering Europe, and the fee will be €20 when it launches. The fee isn't the problem. Music, forgetting it is. Without that approval linked to your passport in the system, you can get stopped before you even leave, right at the check-in desk at your home airport. And quick warning, ETIAS scams are going to be everywhere. If some random site is trying to sell you ETIAS approval months in advance, be careful. Use official channels only because fake authorizations are a real music thing now. And Europe isn't the only place doing this. The UK is tightening the same kind of gatekeeping with its ETA starting the 25th of February, 2026. No ETA in the system. You can get blocked before you even board. And here's the part people mess up. It's tied to your exact passport number. Renew your passport after you apply and that approval may not match anymore. One mismatch in the airline system can flip to no. One quick tip. If you're traveling with a partner, stay together at the kiosk when you can. You don't want that moment where one of you is through and the other gets held up behind for just a quick additional check. And now you're stressed, separated, and watching your connection time shrink. Now, not every update is bad. Uzbekistan is actually going visa-free for Americans starting January 1, 2026. But don't get too comfortable because while one door opens, a lot of countries are adding new digital gatekeepers. Asia is the next big example. Picture this. You land in Asia after a long flight. You're already thinking about your connection and the first thing you hear is basically, cool. Now pull up the confirmation. Not later, not when you find Wi-Fi. Right now at the desk with people stacking up behind you, that's the vibe in 2026. It's fast when your info matches and painfully slow when it doesn't. Japan is the easiest place to feel it. Visit Japan Web can make arrival smooth. Scan the code, keep moving. But the slip-ups are tiny. One wrong passport digit, a name format that doesn't match your passport, or you didn't actually finish the steps that generate the QR code, and now you're standing there jet-lagged trying to log back in while the line behind you gets very quiet. China is where it depends is the whole game. People hear 240-hour transit and assume it's a free mini visa, but it only works if you're truly transiting to a third place with a confirmed onward ticket and a set departure date. A round-trip plan isn't transit, and even when you qualify, the rules can hinge on your exact routing and where you land. Music, so, don't plan a big detour unless you've checked the details for your specific trip. And here's the 2026 scam angle nobody expects. China rolled out an online arrival card service and scammers immediately started making fake official sites that try to charge you. The real service is free. If someone's asking for money just to submit your arrival card, back out. So, the move for Asia in 2026 is simple. Treat every country like it has its own system. Double-check the form or app your destination expects. Make sure everything matches your current passport number and keep a backup that doesn't depend on airport Wi-Fi. Screenshots help, but having the confirmation ready to show, clean and easy, can save you when you're running on fumes. All right, no confusion, no jargon. This is the stuff that keeps you from getting stuck in the dumbest ways possible. Digital ID is fine as a backup. Your physical ID is what keeps the line moving. Liquids are still liquids, so don't donate your expensive cologne at security. And screenshots, they're your proof when an airline suddenly develops amnesia and calls everything a system issue. Now, here's the boss-level warning that quietly ruins trips. The 6-month passport rule. Go check your passport expiration date. Not later, now, because it doesn't matter that your passport is valid today. A lot of countries won't let you in unless your passport stays valid for at least 6 months beyond your travel dates. So, you can be holding a passport that looks fine and still get stopped at check-in because the airline system flags you as not eligible to travel. And this isn't a rumor. U.S. State Department guidance makes it clear this is a real requirement in a lot of destinations. And airlines can deny boarding if you don't meet it. And if you're wondering why the airline acts so cold about it, it's simple. They don't want fines and they don't want to be forced to fly you back. If their system says you're not cleared, the counter becomes a hard stop. Now, while you're holding your passport, don't just stare at the expiration date. Check these 2 things that get people denied even when they did everything right. First, damage. A water stain, mold spots, a big tear, weird markings on the data page, pages coming loose, even a missing visa page. Those can be enough to get you blocked before you ever fly. You can have the visa, the ticket, the hotel, the whole itinerary, and still get stopped because your passport looks like it lost a fight with a spilled coffee. Second, blank pages. Some countries want 2 to 4 blank pages. And yes, some airlines will block boarding if you don't have enough room and you can't add pages anymore. If you're running out, you renew, ideally with a larger book so you don't get ambushed mid-year. Quick trap while we're here. Don't confuse a passport card with a passport book. The card can be useful in specific situations, but for international flights, it won't save you. It's the kind of I brought my passport moment that still gets you denied at the counter. And this is where people try to fix it fast and accidentally make it worse. Here's the twist. If you renew your passport online to be safe, the system can deactivate your current passport right away. Even if it still has months left on it, it may become unusable for travel the moment you submit the online renewal. That's why the U.S. State Department warns not to use online renewal if you have international travel within the next 6 weeks. So imagine this. You renew online because you're being responsible and you just turned off the passport you were planning to fly with. You didn't lose it, you canceled it. Also, online renewal isn't for every situation. It's generally for adult 10-year passports and straightforward cases. If you're dealing with name changes, certain updates, or anything unusual, don't assume the online option will even accept you. One more micro update for 2026, because everyone's doing it. Passport photos. If you use filters, heavy editing, or AI enhancement to make your photo look nicer, you're not upgrading it, you're risking a delay or a rejection. The State Department is clear that digitally altered photos aren't allowed. So, keep it simple, clean, and boring. Boring gets approved. So, yes, get ahead of the 6-month rule. Just don't solve it in a way that deactivates the one passport you needed for the trip. And once your passport and IDs are handled, there's one last enemy in 2026 travel, the airport itself. The moment you clear security, you stop being a passenger and start being a target. Want to walk through customs like a VIP while hundreds of other people are stuck in the slow lane without spending a dime? Your first weapon is MPC, Mobile Passport Control. It's the unicorn of government tech, music, a completely free app that actually works. You submit your arrival info on your phone, skip the paper form, and slide into a dedicated express lane at over 50 US airports. Why pay extra when Uncle Sam gives you this cheat code for free? However, if you're a frequent international flyer, more than twice a year, you should upgrade to the paid programs. Global Entry is still the heavyweight champion. With their new mobile app feature, you can literally take a selfie and skip the kiosk entirely at many airports. As for Clear Plus, don't get confused. This is a private membership that speeds up the ID check only. But if you stack Clear with TSA PreCheck, congratulations. You're officially the Flash of the airport. Here's the irony, though. You can have every app on the planet, but they are useless if you fumble the basics. To make sure you are 100% locked and loaded, let's run through the ultimate 2026 cheat sheet. And stay with me because there is a specific 6-month rule with your passport that's going to get a lot of people rejected at check-in starting in January. Greater than music cheering, greater than even if you don't care about soccer, the World Cup can still steal your seat in 2026. Because during that June to July window, North America isn't just busy, it's packed. Airports, borders, hotels, everything runs hotter. And when the system is overloaded, they stop being flexible. That's when tiny issues turn into instant consequences. You miss the check-in cutoff. You miss the backdrop window. You miss the connection by 10 minutes. And there isn't another seat to save you. Here's what it looks like in real life. You're flying into a host city. You think you're being smart with a tight itinerary. And then security is double the normal wait because half the terminal is wearing jerseys and carrying flags. You land late, sprint to your gate, and the flight that would normally have open seats, it's full. The next one also full. Suddenly, I'll just take the next flight is not a thing. Canada is where people get lulled into a false sense of calm because entry feels simple. You don't need a visa for a short trip as a US citizen, but you still need a valid passport. And during match weeks, immigration and customs lines can stretch. So if your plan is land, clear, connect, build buffer like your seat depends on it because it does. Mexico is the same story. Entry itself is usually straightforward. But during the Cup, music airports like Mexico City and Guadalajara become pressure cookers. More people, tighter timelines, more security, and less patience. And if you're flying, don't show up with the passport card thinking it's enough. This is the season where almost right gets punished fast. So, the survival play isn't complicated. Don't schedule tight connections around host city travel days. Get to the airport earlier than your ego wants to. And if you're re-entering the US through a major hub during that World Cup wave, use mobile passport control or global entry so you're not stuck watching your connection time die in a customs line. And let me ask you this. Are you traveling during World Cup Summer 2026? If yes, drop your route in the comments. I want to know, Are you dealing with US airports, a Canada border crossing, or a Mexico flight? If you're watching this with a trip already booked, do yourself a favor. Save this video and send it to the one friend in your group who always says, "We'll figure it out at the airport." Hit like if you want more 2026 travel updates without the fluff, and subscribe because the rules change quietly and the gate agents don't explain them when you're the one getting pulled aside. Alright, safe travels and may your boarding pass never turn into a "sorry, not today."